Punto Fijo, Venezuela, a general with no energy experience has been installed as the head of the state oil company. Arrests, firings and desperate emigration have gutted top talent. Oil facilities are crumbling, while production is plummeting. As the rest of the oil-producing world recovers on the back of stronger energy prices, Venezuela is getting worse, the result of dysfunctional management, rampant corruption and the country's crippling economic crisis. The deepening troubles at the state oil company, the country's economic mainstay, threaten to further destabilize a nation and government facing a dire recession, soaring inflation and unbridled crime, as well as food and medicine shortages. When energy prices started to crater several years ago, Venezuela and other oil-dependent nations suffered in tandem. Now, prices are rising and others in the oil patch are on the mend. Saudi Arabia's government is slashing its deficits and reaping increased revenue. Even dysfunctional Libya and Iraq have been pumping and exporting like mad. Not Venezuela, the country with the largest proven reserves in the world. The state-owned oil company, Petróleos de Venezuela, known as PDVSA, teeters on the brink of collapse, its failure is at once a symptom and a cause of the nation's downward economic spiral. The reasons can be clearly seen at the sprawling oil refining complex here on the Caribbean coast. Once the crown jewel of Venezuela's oil industry, it not only fueled the country's booming economy but also produced an abundance of lucrative gasoline and diesel for export. Today, the complex is in severe decay. A lack of investment compounded by cash flow problems and chronic shortages of spare parts have crippled operations, critics say. It is closing out the year operating at only 20% capacity, with 76 of 84 plants paralyzed, said Ivan Fritz, a union leader and outspoken government critic. The complex does not have the computer software to diagnose its production problems, nor the money to fix them if they did. It's like a slow death, Mr. Fritz said. With facilities around the country in disrepair, Venezuela has been unable to take advantage of rising prices by pumping out more oil and ramping up refinery operations. Production is falling 20,000 barrels to 50,000 barrels a day month after month and is now at its lowest level in nearly 3 decades. As it sells less oil, PDVSA is falling behind on its debt payments. It is quickly turning into a liability that could force the country into default. With production going down and down, there is a spiral of less cash and less investment and less production, said Francisco J. Moaldi, a Venezuelan oil expert at Rice University in Houston. I don't think there has ever been such a collapse in cash flow of any national oil company. PDVSA's production problems have been exacerbated by the turbulence in its leadership. In the last few months, the government of President Nicolas Maduro arrested scores of managers on corruption charges. Mr. Maduro says the prosecutions are an effort to clean up the company. But critics view the sweep as a political purge by the Mr.